Farewell. Welcome to another edition of CanChan TV. Today we are here with CanChan member, Mr. David Watson. David, welcome.
Hey, Mike.
How are you today?
Absolutely brilliant.
Good. So, a bit of background about you. How long have you been in Vietnam?
I just looked at the calendar. It's been 7 years. I arrived here 7 years ago and did a couple of years of commuting and actually physically moved house and all that 5 years ago.
Okay. Commuting from where? Where are you from?
Australia.
Brisbane. Brisbane, okay. Okay. Originally from Australia?
No, I'm not really Canadian born.
I didn't think so. There's no accent.
Seattle type area.
Okay, so basically a Vancouver accent.
Yeah, Vancouver. I spent a lot of time in Victoria Island, actually, in Vancouver.
How long did you spend in Australia?
What took me to Australia? Just got tired of shoveling snow, and that's been more than 20 years in Australia.
Okay. So, what made you come to Vietnam? What was even the first driver to even bring you to this lovely country?
I have a business in Australia, and that particular business I sold, and I had a chance to become a CEO of another company. And part of their issue was that they had a supply chain issue, which was sourcing some product out of China. And as an alternative, we looked at Vietnam. So I flew to Vietnam with one of the other directors, basically got off the plane and went, yep, this is next. This is where I want to be. And I spent another year with that company, and we did the supply chain issue, got it sorted, we floated the company, and then it was time for me to move to Vietnam.
Okay. You've been to other areas in Southeast Asia here?
Yes, and that's why when I got off the plane 7 years ago, I went, this is next, because I lived in Australia for many, many years, had traveled through Asia, and when I got off the plane 7 years ago, I went, this is just like Singapore 20 years ago. And I said, I know what's next.
Yeah.
And so, I've done it around the bit.
So it clicked for you both business-wise and personally?
Yeah, and personal-wise. Just one of those serendipitous events. On my very first trip, I met a young lady who was walking through the airport in front of me, and we struck up a conversation, and a few years later we got married, and there it goes.
Similar stories.
Similar stories. I think a lot of expats, both men and women, will relate to the same sort of amazing event happening halfway around the world from wherever they would normally call home.
There is something about this country that really does click with many people that just makes you want to stay here.
Yeah, the French actually have a term, and excuse me for French speakers if I completely destroy this, but it's called the malaise du Indochine. It is the sickness of Indochina, because once you've been here, all you can do is think about coming back. And the French colonials would send people out here to work, and when they came back after their tour of duty, as it were, they gave this moniker to them. They have the malaise du Indochine, the sickness of Indochina, because when they come back, they couldn't work. All they wanted to do was talk about Indochina, or in this case, Vietnam, and about how wonderful it was, how great the food was, the weather, the lifestyle, and so they actually became shunned as employees because they were unable to function because all they were doing was dreaming about Vietnam or China.
Okay, good. How about Ho Chi Minh City specifically compared to other parts of Vietnam? You must be fairly well traveled in the 7 years?
Actually, I'm kind of a homebody. So I'm a little bit unusual. My mother lives with me. Okay. And my mother's 91 years old. Wow.
Strong lady?
Not as strong as she was 6 or 7 years ago. So I'm kind of tied down. I can't travel as much as I can, but certainly Ho Chi Minh City has just amazing nightlife. It has any multitude of foods that you want to eat. It is very international city. I won't call it necessarily cosmopolitan, because it's not. Not yet, but certainly it's working on it. And I find it a very livable city in my case. Weather very similar to, say, where I came from in Brisbane. It is not too hot, not too cold, just right.
Okay.
And no snow.
Very true. As a Canadian, I can certainly understand that. It's the one I
You don't do the minus 30 anymore?
No, and I certainly don't miss the snow, and I haven't even been back for a Canadian winter in probably 10 years.
It's time to go skiing, man. I can help you with that.
That could be. Okay, well, great. Thank you, David.
Cheers.
This concludes part one with our interview with Mr. David Watson.
So welcome back, everyone. We continue our discussion with David Watson. So David, I want to make sure I get this straight. I understand your business is not a travel agency, more of a ticketing agency, or you actually have about two companies.
One company in Vietnam, two different brands, and as far as travel agency, from a Canadian perspective, I'm a travel agent. In Vietnam, because of licensing rules, I'm more than a travel agency, I'm a ticketing agency. So
what does that mean?
Well, basically, in Vietnam, there's more than 1,200 travel agents. A travel agent is somebody who you could go to and book a tour, who might help you get an airplane ticket, you could do cruise, you can do all that sort of stuff. But they're not actually able to issue a ticket. Okay, a ticketing agency is somebody who is licensed by the government and recognized, in this case, by IATA, the International Air Transport Authority, which controls all the airlines. Basically, they control about 95% of all the world's domestic airlines. And so you have to be a licensed ticketing person or company with IATA to have that designation. In Vietnam, there's 82 of us.
Okay.
Okay, so you got 1,200 travel agents, but only 82 people who can actually ticket.
Okay.
Okay. You know, just as a little bit of a clarification, some of those travel agents may have a side deal with directly with an airline, so they could maybe have a particular airline that they can ticket for. We actually have the ability to ticket on 275 different airlines, as compared to maybe the guy down the street who you might buy your ticket from, who then runs down the street to buy it from us.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Obviously there must be some differences working with the different airlines. What would be some of the challenges that you have to work with?
Definitely. One of the challenges of working with airlines is personalities, just like any other business. Today there's a lot of automation. However, it doesn't always flow through, and this is particularly the case in Vietnam. One of the larger challenges that we have is sort of dealing with the old guard. Okay. These are relationships that have been in place for many, many years. They would have put in place their favorite agencies. Some people may say cronies, but we'll say favorite agencies that they deal with, and they have a very sweet deal in place with the way the money flows. So when somebody new comes in, they obviously don't want to share much, and so we do have difficulties with some airlines being able to access their ticket stock. Actually, even though we're licensed and we have the authority to sell for them, they won't give us the permission not because of the airline that happens to be European-based or American-based, but it actually has to do with the local office, the country manager who is making the decisions that, oh well, no, we're not going to do that because we already have enough people selling for us.
Right. So how do you work around that, or is it just?
Well, as I said in the beginning, we have one company but two brands. We started our business here in Vietnam with the concept that we were going to support the travel industry. We did what was called concessional ticketing for people in the industry. These would be for pilots, flight attendants, people who have some relationship in the tourism industry, like international hotels or tour operators. That particular business then grew out of that to become more corporate based, where we're looking and supporting businesses. Hence CanChan.
Okay.
And CanChan, very good connection point for us with not only Canadian businesses but other businesses in Columbia here, where a lot of your members and a lot of the guests at your networking and functions are corporates.
Yes.
And they're not all from Canada. They come from all over the world. So part of CanChan's attraction for us, and I'll just be upfront and tell you, CanChan is the most active chamber that we participate with in Vietnam.
Well, that's good to hear.
And we work with 4 other chambers, but certainly the best connection point for other corporates is through CanChan. We generate a lot of business through the Canadians, and it's not just the Canadians living here in Vietnam, but also we now are supporting Canadians in Canada for travel, not just to Vietnam, but worldwide. And certainly Canadians that we've worked with here who have left Vietnam and been transferred to other posts in Asia and Europe, they still use us as a business. So going back to your original question, how do we manage the airline side? We have these 2 different brands, Industry Travel Asia and Future.travel, which is our new launch. Future.travel is an online ticketing agency. This would be if you went to book something online, and this is, everybody's an expert in travel now.
At least they think they are.
Well, they think they are. But, look, there are some very, very clever people out there who can do very well for themselves, booking for themselves and their family, booking online, and certainly the airlines support that. And that comes back to the thing of, why aren't the airlines supporting you? Well, they don't want to support us. If they can figure out how to get the travel segment away from the travel industry and have them come direct to the airline, they'll do it. And they're completely ruthless and more than happy to tell you that right to your face. So we said, okay, that's fine. You go for that. Our niche is for people who want transparency and a few other things. So Future.travel is an online travel agency. We are based here in Vietnam. Just launching on about the 1st of November this year, 2014. We modeled it on a few things. We went and it's very easy to copy stuff. This is this is Vietnam. Copy is right. Sure. There are basically no copyright rules here. But we didn't actually want to go out and just copy what other people are doing, because that basically means that we just copied all of their mistakes and problems. Right. So what we've done is we said, well, who are the top 10 flight origination sites online? What are the top 10 hotel booking sites online? And from that, we said, okay, well, here's number 10, all the way down to number 1. Here's the number 1. Why is number 10 not number 1? Well, so all these things are wrong. Okay, what about number 9? Why isn't it number 1? Well, all those things are wrong. But what about number 1? Is it perfect? Oh, no, it's not perfect, because it's got all these things that are wrong. Right. So what we did is we just went back and focused on all the things that these top 10 agencies or sites were doing wrong. We didn't focus on what they were doing right, because we know that if we took care of everything that they were doing wrong, everything else would be right. So that's our focus. We focused on the top 10 things that people were finding problems with. And it was things like, oh, look, I go to book online, and when I get to check out, the price is different. Drives people crazy. I'm a frequent flyer, but I can never figure out which fare basis I'm on, so am I going to get points on this? So we said, no. I go to a website that says, look, there's not enough, it says, there's 2 seats left. But I get on the plane and it's half empty. Yeah, so
a situation that I've seen many
times. Look, so we just went through this list of 10 things that people found, and there's some pretty amazing things, and then we saw from there this basic trend. And so we built our website, Future.travel, based on that, and we're basically, it's a transparent travel. When you come to our site, the price that you see for a ticket is actually the right price. Okay. There's nothing going to be, you don't get to the end and find out that there's a credit card charge. We don't have a credit card charge.
hidden taxes?
No hidden taxes, nothing like that. We tell you exactly how many seats are available. This flight has 145 economy seats still left. Not there's 3 left.
Yeah.
You know, it's baloney.
Yeah. It seems like there's always only 1, 2, or 3 seats left.
Of course, and we've actually been taken aside here in Vietnam actually it wasn't from Vietnam, it was actually from a regional person who said, David, why are you doing that? You need to create urgency. You need to tell people that they need to buy right now. You want them to buy it. I went, they're going to come and buy because we're honest and we're transparent.
Yeah.
So that's how we get around the airlines. We're just going to be completely open and transparent. The airlines aren't, and that's how we're going to win.
Okay, fantastic. What would you say have been some of your best or biggest achievements so far in this industry?
In this industry, well, I am, as far as I know, the first Western manager of a online travel agency in Vietnam. We work with more than 8,000 industry people each week, so we've created an awareness and a marketing plan that was unknown in Vietnam before we arrived. And we go to a lot of meetings, and people go, oh, I'm David. I don't know you, but I know your company.
Okay.
So I guess our major achievement is just the brand. And people are starting to take us very seriously now. Okay. And I think when we launch our site, future.travel, it is in Vietnamese, it is in English, but it will also be in French and German. Okay. And we met with people last night for Japanese. We're going to be a global site. And so that for us is a major achievement. It's creating something wonderful.
And this is I certainly hope and expect an announcement you'll be able to make through CanChan.
Oh, absolutely. CanChan, we actually have the ability to provide discounts to members. We'll talk about that off camera.
Okay.
But the other thing that we have as an opportunity, which makes us a little bit different than, say, every other website in the world, selling travel at least, is that with every single purchase we have a CSR, corporate social responsibility mandate for our company, which basically says that we are going to donate a portion of our revenue, not our profit, our revenue. We take it right off the top.
Yep.
First dollar off of any income goes to social enterprise. We just take it off the top, done.
Okay.
You know, we have, we know what percentage of our revenue we can afford to do that with, and it goes into social enterprise. We offer people who purchase from us, CanChan members or general public, the opportunity to join us and help supporting social enterprise. In today's world, everybody, or most everybody, would like to improve the living situations or the community in one way or the other. But they expect their corporate or their whoever they're buying from to be leading the way, and they're right behind it. This is why I buy this product, well, because they're socially responsible. They're helping the planet environmentally, whatever it happens to be. Yeah. In our case, we have that mandate. Regardless of what our customers do, we donate money on every single transaction. What makes us a little bit different is we're saying, come and join us. And we give people the opportunity at checkout to say, yes, I will help build a new house for somebody who has no house in Indochina. So we look after Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos in this particular social enterprise. We do wheelchairs for people without legs. That's a Vietnam-based project. Or we heal a broken heart. We assist with open heart surgeries or surgical repair for children who have a broken heart with Heartbeat Foundation. We don't actually donate any money to charity. We do social enterprises. So basically, if you have an NGO, sorry for all you NGOs and charities out there, but there's a little reality in what I'm about to say, is that a lot of times the NGOs and the charities have such large overheads that a very small portion is actually making it to the ground. And I come from a long history of, I'm a frustrated philanthropist.
Right.
I never have enough money to give away.
That's a situation for many of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
So what we do is we just find social enterprises where the house is actually built, and we just go straight to that particular enterprise and say, how much does the house cost? They say $1,600. How can we measure it? Every house has a serial number. How do we know where the house is? We'll give you the GPS coordinates once it's built. We'll give you the name of the family. What about the wheelchair? The wheelchair has a serial number, so we have this physical, tangible, we know exactly where every dollar is going, and we can physically see it, touch it, and we know every single dollar that we put in is going there. With the Heartbeat Foundation, they're coming back and saying, look, to mend a broken heart is $1,000. You can save a child's life for $1,000, very easy. When you donate, we provide you, or the Heartbeat Foundation provides you with the name of the child, the anticipated surgery date, a picture, follow-up, it's there. And we actually went with Heartbeat because we know that for every dollar we put in, it's actually going to the surgery, because the foundation is actually funded by one of the venture capital companies here, which covers all their office rent, all the overheads, all their employees and everything. So every single dollar is actually going to a child. So, you know, Vietnam is amazing, and it provides great opportunities for helping the social community. And I believe Vietnamese, you know, people look up to the Vietnamese in Indochina, and certainly worldwide. As an example, and we're happy to be here doing that, and being part of the growth of Vietnam and as a global entity.
Well, it's great to hear. Certainly, as a CanCham member with such a strong CSR program, as you know, CanCham has a very strong CSR program. You're not in Hanoi, but on November 9th we have the Hanoi Run for Children. But I'll put you on the spot that I will expect to see you in Phu My Hung on Tam Trao
on the 30th for the Terry Fox run. Be there with my stroller, absolutely, full of kids, absolutely, and I'll do the walk.
That's fair enough.
And the kids will just run around circles, right?
That works too. All right, one last point. Any last tips for our viewership out there?
Come to Vietnam. It's amazing. Expect to catch a bit of an illness, the malaise de Indochine, because once you've been here, all you're going to think about is coming back. From the travel perspective, obviously go look at future.travel and make that booking.
Absolutely.
But second to that is, if you're planning to buy a ticket, don't wait till tomorrow, you should buy it today. The point is, the earlier you can buy, the better it is, because if you say, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow suddenly becomes the week before you're leaving, and then you're really stuffed.
It does creep up on you.
It gets so fast. So if you're thinking about it, just do it. You can sleep much better at night, because it's just one of those things you tick off the list. And I think if you go and look at successful travelers, successful industries, they plan ahead, they purchase ahead, and go from there. And you know, look for transparency in your booking. Certainly that's, you know, travel with transparency, that's future.travel. If you want to know how many seats there are on the flight, you go look at that. And if you're saying, look, when I'm going to buy, if I'm giving money to an organization to pay for a ticket, what am I getting for my dollar? What extras am I getting? Right. And in this case, you're getting the extra, the good feeling that the company you're dealing with is going to be helping homeless people or legless people or people who have broken hearts. That regardless of whatever you do, the company's going to be there to help you.
Right. Well, thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. We look forward to seeing you again for another edition of CanCham TV.